Hi, just another one in the series I'm doing. We're on number 10. There's about 5 left. I'm going to do this video and another one after, and that should be them all done then. Like I said, fair use. It's for educational purposes, so people can be educated in fallacies. I know the fair use thing that applies to the person. I'm not a person. I'm a man. I'm an individual. I'm a man, and I'm very much alive. Thank you very much. I'm not an entity. I'm not a corporation. I'm a man. This one's the casual fallacy. The casual fallacy is any logical breakdown when identifying a cause. You can think of the casual fallacy as a parent category for several different fallacies about unproven causes. One casual fallacy is the false cause or non causa pro causa, not the cause for a cause fallacy, which is when you conclude about a cause without enough evidence to do so. Consider, for example, since your parents named you Harvest, they must be farmers. It's possible that the parents are farmers, but that name alone is not enough evidence to draw that conclusion. The name doesn't tell us much of anything about the parents. This claim commits the false cause fallacy. Another casual fallacy is the post hoc fallacy. Post hoc is short for post hoc ergo propter hoc. After this, therefore because of this. This fallacy happens when you mistake something for the cause just because it came first. The key words here are post and propter, meaning after and because of. Just because this came before, that doesn't mean this caused that. Post doesn't prove propter. A lot of superstitions are susceptible to this fallacy. For example, yesterday I walked under a ladder with an open umbrella indoors while spilling salt in front of a black cat, and I forgot to knock on wood with my lucky dice. That must be why I'm having such a bad day today. It's bad luck. Now, it's theoretically possible that those things cause bad luck, but since those superstitions have no known or demonstrated casual power, and luck isn't exactly the most scientifically reliable category, it's more reasonable to assume that those events by themselves didn't cause bad luck. Perhaps that individual's bad luck is just his own interpretation because he was expecting to have bad luck. He might be having a genuinely bad day. But we cannot assume some non-natural relation between those events caused today to go bad. That's a post hoc fallacy. Now, if you fell off a ladder onto an angry black cat and got tangled in an umbrella, that will guarantee you one bad day. Another kind of casual fallacy is the correlational fallacy, also known as cum hoc ergo propter hoc, Latin, with this, therefore because of this. This fallacy happens when you mistakenly interpret two things found together as being casually related. Two things may correlate without a causal relation, or they may have some third factor causing both of them to occur, or perhaps both things just coincidentally happen together. Correlation doesn't prove causation. We could say this about when they say, oh, the moon causes the tides, because it just happens that when there's a high tide, the moon is in the sky. You could say that, and that's what these heliocentric believers would say. They would say that because there's a high tide, it means the moon's in the sky, so it's pulling, the gravitational pull of the moon is pulling the tide towards the moon, so you've got a high tide, right? But you could put that under this fallacy, cum hoc ergo propter hoc. Just because two things are found to happen at the same time together doesn't mean that they're related. Yeah? They may correlate without a causal relation, like it says, you know what I mean? There may be some other factor that causes both of them to occur. Yeah? Or maybe they're just coincidental. And they just happen to be there at the same time. Yeah? There may not be anything between them, which more than likely isn't. Yeah? But just because the moon is in the sky and there's a high tide doesn't mean to say the moon is causing the high tide. That's a fallacy. Yeah? Consider, for example, every time Joe goes swimming, he's wearing his Speedos. Something about wearing that Speedo must make him want to go swimming. That statement is a correlational fallacy. Sure, it's theoretically possible that he spontaneously sports his Euro-style swim trunks with no thought of where that may lead, and surprisingly, he's now motivated to dive and swim in cold, wet nature. That's possible, but it makes more sense that he put on his trunks because he already planned to go swimming. Which kind of casual fallacy is at work in these examples? Jimmy isn't at school today. Keep using that word school. I'll start that again. Jimmy isn't at indoctrination centre today. He must be on a family trip. Jimmy has a fever, sinus, congestion, a cough, and can't come to his indoctrination centre today. So he probably has a test later today. Which one is the casual fallacy? If you think you know, leave a comment. We're going to go through them, like I said, later. There's another one here, look. I didn't realise there were three. There's only two on the others. Someone really should move this deer crossing sign. This is a dangerous stretch of highway, and the deer really should be crossing somewhere else. Oh, it's a Big Bang Theory. I used to watch that. I used to find that funny. Now I just find it stupid. Fallacy of sunk costs. Sometimes we invest ourselves so thoroughly in a project that we're reluctant to even abandon it. I think we've got this with some of these Globers, you know. They sunk themselves so thoroughly into trying to debunk the flat earth and using fallacy and using all the underhanded tricks in the book. Now I think they know that the earth's not a globe. Or sorry, not what they tell us it is. It's a better way of putting it. But they're that far into it now, they can't let go. So they're using this fallacy of sunk costs. Like I said, sometimes we invest ourselves so thoroughly in a project that we're reluctant to ever abandon it, even when it turns out to be fruitless and futile. It's natural, and usually not a fallacy, to want to carry on with something we find important, not least because of all the resources we've put into it. Because there's something about the people in this globe earth society cult. Yeah. All the resources, all the time and money and effort they've put into, what they call it, getting their careers and everything in society. And if they were to admit that it's all wrong and it's all bullshit, all that would be gone. They'd have to admit that their life has been a waste. Yeah. And people don't want to do that. So it's hard for them to let go. It's hard for them to be intellectually honest with themselves. Yeah? And be logical and intellectually honest with themselves and just let go and say, look, I don't know where I am. I don't know who I am. I don't know why I'm here. End of. Just say, look, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with saying I don't know. However, this kind of thinking becomes a fallacy when we start to think that we should continue with a task or project because of all that we've put into it, without considering the future costs we're likely to incur by doing so. There may be a sense of accomplishment when finishing, and the project might have other values, but it's not enough to justify the cost invested in it. Sunk cost is an economic term for any past expenses that can no longer be recovered. For example, after watching the first 6 episodes of Battlestar Galactica, I don't think I've ever watched that, to be honest. I think I might have seen the odd one, but I'm not really into the sci-fi stuff no more since this. But you decide the show isn't for you. Those 6 episodes are your sunk cost, because you've already invested roughly 6 hours of your life into it, you rationalise that you might as well finish it. All apologies to Edward James Olmos, but this isn't good economics, so to speak. It's more cost than benefit. Psychologically, we are susceptible to this errant behaviour when we crave that sense of completion or a sense of accomplishment, or we are too comfortable or too familiar with this unwieldy project. or you're too comfortable or too familiar with the Globe Earth Society cult. Yeah. Sometimes we become too emotionally committed to an investment, burning money, wasting time and mismanaging resources to do it. Consider the following examples. Which of these is a sunk cost fallacy and which is not? Example 1. I know this relationship isn't working anymore and that we're both miserable. No marriage, no kids, no steady job, but I've been with him for 7 years, so I better stay with him. That's the Globe Earth Society for you. Example 2. I'm halfway done with college. This is so tough, and it's not nearly as fun as I thought it would be, but I don't know. I guess I'll finish it and get my degree. Your degree in what? Probably bullshit. Do you know what I mean? Your indoctrination, your Prussian education using the servile or utilitarian arts. Is that what you're on about? Yeah? Just to give you enough to run everything and keep this current paradigm going, but not enough to educate you properly. Sunk cost fallacy, the video there. This is the last one on this one, then I'm going to do another video for the last 3, and that's it. Appeal to authority. Argumentum ad verecundium. This fallacy happens when we misuse an authority. This misuse of authority can occur in a number of ways. We can cite only authorities steering conveniently away from our other testable and concrete evidence, as if expert opinion is always correct. Or we can cite irrelevant authorities, poor authorities, or false authorities. I'd like to add to that, it's not just when you misuse an authority. Any appeal to any perceived authority, yeah, it's fallacious. Because you don't know if that perceived authority has got an agenda behind what they're saying or doing, got monetary gain to be made by what they're saying or doing. If they've got an agenda behind what they're saying or doing, or got monetary gain through it, you don't know if they're lying to you or not, or misleading or deceiving you. Because they're going to do that if they've got monetary gain or an agenda behind what they're doing. So appealing to any authority is a fallacy. Yeah? Not just the ones it says here. Yeah? I say perceived authority because nobody's got authority over the man. You're your own authority. You should be standing on your own 2 feet and saying, no, I am a man, I am my own authority. Nobody has authority over me. Nobody. Yeah? Here on this earth, nobody has authority over me. Yeah? Apart from myself. Yeah? You are your own authority. Stand on your own 2 feet, empower yourself to see all this bullshit that's going on and rise above it. Like many of the other fallacies in this list, the argumentum ad verecundium, argument from respect, can be hard to spot. It's tough to see sometimes because it's normally a good responsible move to cite relevant authorities supporting your claim. Yeah, if it can be shown practically. Demonstrated and shown practically using tangible substance. No good saying, oh, look at that over there. Well, can I go over and touch it and smell it and taste it and have a look round it and everything else and do some scientific experiments on it? Oh, no. You can't do that. You've just got to look at it. Well, what good's that going to do? I could look at it and think it's one thing, then someone else could come along and look at it and think it's something totally different. Because people think differently. So that's not going to prove anything, is it? It's fallacious. Yeah? It's false. It's illogic. It's false reasoning. It's false. Where are we? It can't hurt, but if all you have are authorities and everyone just has to take their word for it, without any other evidence or proof to show that those authorities are correct, well then you have a problem. Exactly. And this is what the problem we've got. Yeah? We got all these people saying, oh, look, these people said this, these people said that, this institution says this institution says that. Science says this. But it's not like science belongs to an institution. It doesn't. It belongs to everybody. Science belongs to the individual. Yeah? The meaning of science is just exploration and testing of the environment in which you live and stuff like that. It doesn't belong to anybody. It's everybody's. Yeah? But like it says here, it says, but if all you have are authorities and everyone just has to take their word for it or believe what they're saying, then you've got a problem. Because then that is no longer science if you're just believing what scientists tell you. If they can't show it practically and demonstrate it and show you a working model or show you the substances they're talking about doing what they say they're doing, yeah, by using science and the scientific method, then what? Like I said, you have a problem. Because you just have to take their word for it and believe what they're telling you. They could have an agenda behind what they're telling you. They could have monetary gain behind what they're telling you. They could have some other gain behind what they're telling you. God, I don't know, right? But like it says there, you've got a problem if you've just got to take their word for it and believe. You shouldn't believe anything. If you don't know, it's all right. Just say, look, I don't know. I've not got a Scooby-Doo. Yeah? But now I know that's an option, I will go and have a look. And I will go and see if I can find out for myself. Test it myself. Try and observe it myself. Often this fallacy refers to irrelevant authorities, like citing a foot doctor when trying to prove something about psychiatry. His area of expertise is in an irrelevant field. When citing authorities to make your case, you need to cite relevant authorities, but you also need to represent them correctly and make sure their authority is legitimate and make sure they've got their proof to back it up. Make sure they can show it you practically, with practical demonstrations. Suppose someone says, I buy fruit of the loom. Other clothing manufacturers are available. Underwear. Because Michael Jordan says it's the best. But Michael Jordan isn't a relevant authority when it comes to underwear. This is a fallacy of irrelevant authority. We get that in advertising a lot, don't we? You know what I mean? Now consider this logical leap. 4 out of 5 dentists agree that brushing your teeth makes your life meaningful. Dentists generally have expert knowledge about dental hygiene, but they aren't qualified to draw far-reaching conclusions about its meaningfulness. This is a fallacy of misused authority. For all we know, their beliefs about the meaning of life are just opinions, not expert advice. Which they most likely are. Everything that we do and say and have in this life is basically an opinion. Yeah? Because we don't know where we are, who we are, or why we're here. So everything is delusional, and it's just opinion, subjective, unless we can show it practically. Yeah? I'll take the assumption that I'm the most handsome man in the world because my mummy says so. My mummy wouldn't have said that. I've not seen my mum since I was like 16, 15. So now, while I might be stunningly handsome, my mum's opinion doesn't prove it. She's biased. She's practically required to tell me I'm handsome because it's her job as a mother to see the best in me and to encourage me to do the best I can be. Sorry, to be the best I can be. She's also liable to see me through rose-coloured glasses, and in this case, she's not an expert in fashion, modelling, or anything dealing in refined judgments of human beauty. She's in no position to judge whether I'm the most handsome man in the world. Her authority there is illusory. Sorry, Mum. There's another problem with relying too heavily on authorities, when even the authorities can be wrong sometimes. The science experts in the 16th century thought the Earth was the centre of the solar system, geocentrism. Turns out they were wrong. That's your opinion, whoever wrote this. And how would you know that? Yeah, how do you know the scientists were right back in the 16th century and now they're wrong? Turns out they were wrong, apparently. I don't think that at all, but that's what this person who wrote this thinks. The leading scientists in the 19th century thought the universe, as we know it, always existed. Steady state theory. They were wrong too. For these reasons, it's a good general rule to treat authorities as helpful guides with suggestive evidence. Like I said, there's a difference between evidence and proof. Evidence is just there to suggest there could be other possibilities. Proof is there to say, well, it is what it is. There you go. I've proved it. I've shown it you practically. That's what it is. Yeah? Like fire will burn. Water will get you wet. Ice is cold. Yeah? But even authorities deserve a fair share of scepticism, since they can make mistakes, overstep their expertise, and otherwise mislead you. Consider the following examples. How do these statements mishandle authorities? Because Martin Sheen played the president on television, he'd probably make a good president in real life. Well, that's one, isn't it? Because he can play it on television, it means they're going to make one in real life. One day robots will enslave us all. It's true. My computer science teacher says so. This internet news site said that the candidate punches babies. We know that's true because it's on the internet. Right, the next video we're going to do ambiguity, the equivocation, ambiguity, and another 2 fallacies, and then we're done. Okay, thank you.